I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just looking good to I'll just do it in front of her, shouldn't I?
He's kept going, he scored! More Stockport pressure. And a superb goal! Johnny did it! Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson!
It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we've got a small house, but we've got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
Hello and welcome to the 110th helping of SK3 TV, the show for the thinking county fan. As long as what that county fan is thinking is Gordon's alive. Been saying that all week, can't help myself. If he has a shit game, not going to be able to break that out. Yes, we are with you every week for an hour or so of top county chat and reaction to all things what have gone on in the week before. Joining me tonight, it is a man who, according to my other half, has a very good handshake. So, well done. Now we know what he does when he's alone with all them shirts. How are we doing, Ben? All right?
I'm all right, I'll take that. Plenty of things have been said worse about me, so a firm handshake.
Yeah, just today.
We'll take it. Thank you very much. Good to be back after a hiatus.
Yeah, not only good to be back on the pod, but good to be back from Plymouth. How was your day?
Do you know what? I went in September last year and we lost.
Oh, right, I thought you meant 4 yesterday.
It felt like it. Drove to Bristol. And then you think, it must be nearly there now, Bristol. And then you have a 2.5-hour train journey to Plymouth, which is, longer than Manchester to London. And then you walk across Plymouth to get there. So we thought, we won't do that again. I've been now, ticked it off, obviously, because it's the first game of the season, you feel obliged to go. Yeah, it's a long day. Left about 7:45 yesterday morning. Went to drop my mate back off in Stockport after the game yesterday. Got back about midnight. So, long day. Worth it, though. He says.
Yeah, because you said we were chatting on Friday in a group chat, and you said off the back of seeing McNulty's interview on Friday, you were fully were fully up for it then, yeah.
Yeah, like I posted on the board earlier in the week that I couldn't be asked going really. Just kind of felt like a little bit tour of duty kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then every time I hear McNulty speak, which admittedly he's only been twice, I heard him speaking Pinatar, and I thought he was excellent. And then heard him speak, whatever it was, when Thursday, Friday night with his pre-match. And what a difference, how refreshing it is to hear him with that. It's not just enthusiasm, because that's a bit patronising to say he's enthusiastic, but his heart, his passion, and the real sense of, just hearing all something really positive, it makes such a difference. So, I was actually pumped for it. And then, I'm 41, was actually excited about it. And then coming back yesterday, we were all saying, I want the next game to be tomorrow. Yeah. And it's been years since I felt like that. And that's not to, put anyone down what they've done previously. But, real excitement. We were so good. We'll come on to it, but we were so good. And I've just noticed one of the comments, did McNulty do something before the game? They come out, they do the handshakes, and they did all that. McNulty came over to the away fans, gave it all that, but then was proper like, no, come on, like come on, like get us going. And we responded to it. The fans did. Yeah. And at the end, he's making such a point, and it doesn't feel performative. It doesn't, he's not a Pete Wild fist pumping knobhead. He's actually genuinely recognises the importance of what the fans can do. So yeah, good. Yeah.
I think so we'll focus on that. So the first half of the show, we will discuss yesterday's game and look ahead a little bit to Everton under 21s on Tuesday night. Our very own Dave Philbin is actually away in Torquay this week, so he's sent a few videos, a pre-match, a half-time, and a full-time one that we'll use to inform our discussion of the game. Quick question to preempt something in the second half of the show. When people say to you, Ben, who's county's manager now, what do you say?
Depends depending who I'm talking to, if you're looking for a name, I would say Jim McNulty.
Thank you. Right, we'll come back onto that later. We will. Yes. It's a very important discussion that I think needs to be had. I think the time has come already. These are the important discussions that need to be sorted. So we'll get on that in the second half. In fact, you won't be familiar with it yet, Ben, but we've got a new feature for the second half of the show called Roulette. See what the news has in store for us, where we spin a roulette wheel and that informs the discussion.
Can't wait.
So
I
that's
can't wait
exciting.
for the second half of the show, Nick. Didn't even know we had halves of the show these days, but that's how long I've been away. Yeah.
And those two halves are broken up with a fantastic clip from yesteryear from our friend Chris Eaton. So,
I feel like Ryan Rydell's circa November 2024. 2024, coming back after injury for such a long time. Yeah, don't know what's going on.
World.
Yeah.
What a world. Before we crack on, we are, of course, brought to you in association with the lovely guys and gals at Blackbird Kitchen on the pans at Len's Chippy, on the pans, grills, fryers, and everything at Len's Chippy Drawsden, also incorporating the fantastic Blackbird Burger. Well, you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and press the thumbs up and do the same everywhere else. That really helps. Personal admin, I have got a pulp ticket for sale for Wythenshawe Park a week on Friday. Just drop in my DMs. No weirdos for now, but give it 10 days and then I will accept weirdos. You don't have to come with me. If you're buying it in the 2 days before the gig, definitely don't be coming with me because it will be dregs. But the offer's there. And offers will be considered. It's not a full face value situation. Better than nothing. Right, we will get into things after this. So yeah, when the fixtures came out, our Dave was already in the process of booking a holiday in that neck of the woods. So it all worked out quite well. So what we'll do, we'll see what he had to say pre-match, and then we'll get into the first half.
Hello everybody, hello Nick. Good morning from sunny Torquay. Having a nice walk through the harbour at the moment before heading over to Plymouth. Prediction for today is, and it's 9:23, so I'm not cheating, it's 9:23. So my prediction is County to win 3-1. Plymouth will go 1-0 up early doors. County fans will lose their heads. Football's crap, all that stuff. Then Kyle Wotton will score just before half-time, 1-1. And then we'll have Jack Diamond to score in the second half after 55 minutes. And then Ethan Pye, after his 150th appearance, will score in the 85th minute, sending the away and into raptures. Lily, what's your score prediction?
4-2.
Who's going to score? Jack Diamond, Kyle Wotton, Malik Mothersill, Glover, Norwood, Bate.
First four that you said.
The first four that I said. I'll see you in a bit with the review.
So a name popped up there. When the team's announced. So firstly, no goalkeeper on the bench, which in terms of there's a potential there. If we're doing this throughout the course of the season, which it seems we will based on what McNulty did at Rochdale, expected banter, XB. There's a potential there, is there not?
There is.
We're going to see Kyle Wotton in goal, aren't we?
I don't mind it. Someone messaged, I posted something on Instagram earlier, and someone messaged me saying, what will we do if Watmuff gets injured or sent off? Well, quite clearly, we will put an outfield player in goal because we don't have a sub-keeper on the bench.
Yeah.
And then the second question, will we have somebody with a shirt made up? Which is a little bit more exciting for me. I don't know is the short answer. I know that back in 21-22, Liam Hogan did have a shirt made up. I think it was mooted at some point and it was never really confirmed, but I have had it confirmed. And I've seen a snippet of it that Liam Hogan did have a shirt made up because I think it was Bromley away in the February. So Ben would have played. Ethan Ross was suspended because he got sent off against Cheshunt. So we didn't have another keeper. It must have been before Ashby Hammond came in, who's obviously come back to us. So I don't know if we have almost like an outfield player ready to go. But yeah, don't mind it all. You look at the amount of times over the last decade a keeper has been injured or sent off. Is it worth taking up a spot on the bench every week for something which virtually never happens. Jim McNulty obviously decides that it's not worth that. We know that he likes making use of all of his subs. We've seen that in all his games so far. We've used the full 5. So having that extra body, that extra outfield player, gives him more options. So I don't mind it. Worst case scenario, we lose Watmouth with an injury, or he's sent off early on and we have to play, 70 minutes.
Or based on today, he gets called back by Man City after
he could
have his goalkeeping performance today.
Yeah, but the good thing is for us, he's still about 8th in line at City, isn't he? No matter how good he is for us, that realistic. And this is no, downer on him, because I've been incredibly impressed with him. He's nowhere near the first team, which is a massive positive for us. And I think it'd have to be something pretty traumatic for City for him to even be getting on the bench for City this season. So hopefully we're safe with him.
Yeah, and I think we can put to bed the whole idea of him possibly being recalled in January to go, because the talk, according to McNulty, they wanted him in the Championship, and it's his previous relationship with him that's got it done. So you'd expect we're not going to have the same thing we've had with loanees every year that, frankly, is fucking tiresome.
Can I offer a bit of trivia to the listeners?
Of course you can.
We're talking keeper. While we're on this subject, I totally missed this one until it came up in the week. Someone messaged me with one of Andy Dibble's shirts, and then I was doing a bit of research about it, and then I
know what's coming here, because I've been told to ask you the same thing. Go on.
So, Sheffield United at home, I think November 2000, Andy Dibble was sent off for hauling down a striker. There's a bit of shit clearance out, and then he just dragged his man down like Nicky Weaver did at Main Road to us. An outfield player went in goal. Who was it? Does anyone know? Don't look it up. That's boring. Don't look it up. Leave your answers in the comments. Obviously, Dibble was also at Norwich after 30 seconds, and James Spencer came on. Final day of the season of 01-02. This was November, I think it was November 2000. So the season before, Dibble was sent off and an outfield player went in goal. It's not Tony Dinning. That was Carlisle in 1995.
Boxing Day.
Yes, on a frozen pitch. And he wore a cap, old school keeper cap. Anyway, we lost 2-0 to Sheffield United. I'm sure it was November 2000 or December 2000. And this person's first act, as all good classic sub-goalkeeper moves was to retrieve the ball from the back of their net. So,
well, Dave Philbin sent me a question yesterday that he meant to get in on one of his clips but forgot. When was the last time we didn't see our goalkeeper's arms? That is to say, when was the last time we had a goalkeeper in long sleeves?
Ooh.
I'm thinking Ian Ormson.
Well,
I don't see Ian Ormson in short sleeves. I might be wrong.
Ben has had long sleeve keeper shirts as recently as 2021.
Really?
The West Ham keeper shirt in fact, all of the keeper shirts in 2020-21 were long sleeved. 21-22 was short. And I think since then they've all been short without checking. I'm going to say they are. But certainly 2020-21, the Rusk behind closed doors farce, they were all long sleeved.
I can see it in my head now. Yeah.
Because we had I think he wore 7 shirts that season of different variants, because we had the purple and the blue initially. Then McGee said we need to wear brighter colours to deter the strikers. So we switched to yellow and green.
Straight out of the 70s.
In fact, 21-22, we did wear a one-off shirt, a yellow Vita-sponsored one. It's the only time we ever wore it. And this is the good stuff here. Chester away in the Cheshire Senior Cup, and Ben played in it, and he wore a yellow long-sleeved Vita-sponsored keeper shirt, the only time we ever wore it. So I'm going to say that was the last time. If you exclude someone like Yaros potentially wearing base layers, I can't remember.
I think long sleeve keeper top.
Long sleeve keeper shirt, 21-22, Chester away in the Cheshire Senior Cup when we won 1-0 when Millennium Ali scored that goal. We wore pink shorts and one of only 2 times as well. Shall I just leave now? Shall I go?
I knew we'd get an answer. That's it. We can wrap up
already. Yeah.
Back to yesterday. Couple of headlines in the lineups. Amazes me that people are still surprised that the lineups come out an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. It's been like that for a year. Yeah. Don't be shocked by it. It's fine. And yeah, so Moxon and Mothersill not only not in the squad but haven't travelled at all. Would we say that is curtains, at least on a temporary basis?
Yes, I would. I think certainly for Mothersill, more so than Moxon, I am more confident of it being curtains on at least a temporary basis. I was told last week, expect a significant departure. So straight away, you go to Pye or Wootton for significant departure. I think Sam Byrne has shut down that, with the caveat that, of course, if someone comes in with £5 million, we're going to sell them. Probably, he's not said that, but someone puts a big offer in, we're going to sell them.
Yeah.
So if you take them two out of it, then you add in Mothersill hasn't travelled. I don't think Moxon would count as a significant departure.
No, I don't.
So I think Mothersill is gone or going. Whether that's a permanent, provocatively, who'd buy him? And
yeah, I can't see how.
Because if we sell him, we're taking a massive hit. If we paid £1 million for him, no one's paying anywhere near that, despite his potential, despite he's young and he's potentially not settled up here and this, that, and the other, whatever mitigating circumstances there are. No one's paying £1 million for him. So we're taking a massive hit if we sell him. If we put him out on loan, I can see there being plenty of offers for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if Charlton came in again, like they have been. I wouldn't be surprised if Charlton fancied him on loan. If he can have, I think a loan might be more sensible. I mean, obviously, notwithstanding the fact that, like you said, who's going to buy him? Yeah. But in terms of a loan, there is the possibility that reinvigorates him and then puts him in the shop window, and there are teams wanting to pay. I mean, we're not going to make a profit on him, let's face it, but at least getting $1 million back.
I don't see it. Would Peterborough want him back on loan? He did well there. I don't know if they'd want him back. I don't know if you go back in those circles.
Judging by their fans' comments when he left and McAnthony's comments on that podcast we stopped, I just think, I think they're quite happy to get rid.
There's again, referring back to the comments here, why are we getting rid of Mothersill? Because he's been
why wouldn't
we? Poor, offered virtually nothing in a year, and has not really shown any signs of showing anything beyond kind of what he's done so far. I think you're right. Why wouldn't we get rid of him? Is probably the more of a pressing question. What is there to kind of say that he's a significant part of this squad going forward? Because I don't see it based on last season at all. Didn't see very, very little. He turned in a decent performance at Reading away, and then looked as if he'd spat his dummy a bit with Challoner, which, to be fair, I don't mind. If he thinks he's playing well and the manager holds him off, I don't mind him being frustrated at that. But no, he's not having it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very strange because I don't think I've seen him strike a ball cleanly in a year. I've never seen anything like it. For someone, the numbers that he got the previous season at Peterborough, like close to 30 like goal contributions, you think, that's exactly the type of player we should go. And
there's a couple of it is. And I can't remember. One of them was definitely at Bradford away last season.
He had that shot on goal where he just passed it to the keeper.
And he basically passed, and he seemed to shoot really early as well. And it wasn't dead central, kind of 10 yards out. He was coming in at a bit of an angle off the left, I seem to remember. And he may have, been on the edge of the area, but he had ground to run into. And he seemed to shoot early, and it was almost kind of Jeff Thomas-esque in its execution, that it just kind of dribbled back to the keeper. And, you could have just put your foot on it kind of thing to clear it. And there was another one he did similar to, and I can't remember if it was home or away, but it was a very similar thing. He was clean through, and you think, right, go on, just make the keeper work at least. Get it on target, put a bit of power behind it, and he just seemed to just side foot it back. I can't remember if it was at home or away, but there's definitely been 2 instances where you think that's a bit odd.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, Mox, like alluding to the thing you said about being a surprise, a big departure. So Motherstone would fit. I don't think Moxon would fit that based on the fact he's never been fancied. I mean, depending on who you believe, it was made quite clear to him in an early training session that he wasn't fancied in front of everyone. Which is a weird one because of all the signing, because you'd expect we've spent at least $500,000 on him based on what he'd gone for prior to that. You'd expect so. Of all the big money signing, he's the one I genuinely thought would do it for us. I was really excited about that signing based on what I'd seen of him elsewhere, and for it to not work out is just.
And that's it. And he's another one that he struggled to really pick, a cluster of games where you think, yeah, he's really hit his stride there. And then he's lost it either through injury or through suspension or whatever reason. He's never really got going. He's had moments and kind of spells in games where he's looked decent, but he's never become that player that I think we expected we were getting, that stood out at Carlisle. I can't say I've watched much from Portsmouth, but he's obviously playing at a high level. Portsmouth fans seem to speak pretty highly of him. And I think that first half season, when he came to us, there was a bit of, with a full pre-season behind him, he'll really kind of stand out and all of this, but he just didn't really. He played a lot of games for us, but then never really got going. And then I suspect he's been given a degree of an opportunity under McNulty. He played the second half in Pinatar, put himself around, did lots of things quite tidily without standing out. He certainly didn't look out of his depth or anything like that. I wasn't at Oldham, I was away, but I think did he play a bit at Oldham? And then
he played on the right of a back three actually, yeah.
Right. And then obviously Doncaster, and this week he's nowhere to be seen. So I think he's another one obviously Mingy's, he may as well be out the door. I think I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of them go. That leaves a question mark about Callum Camps. I think if you get rid of Moxon and Camps and Motherfield, then we probably definitely do need to bring someone else in, because then if Norwood or Bate are missing for every reason, Fiorini, who I'm pretty positive about so far, but you're kind of down to not quite the bare bones, but you need a bit of depth there. So I expect if Moxon and Camps were to go, we'd look to bring in more. But again, with Camps, I like him. It's just the fitness. He misses a lot of games.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to have put it down to that challenge he received against Wrexham from Dobson. Because he got in, but there was constant injuries before that. He had this shoulder issue that just never seemed to go, and there just always seemed to be something. Getting to an age now where year on his contract, is he going to want a longer contract somewhere else? I don't think we'll be offering it. So, quick, just to while we're on the transfer window. So from Rob Vernals, is there a chance that Sidibe could be one to leave before the end of the window? Is there a chance that he can't have a medical whilst he's injured? There's been a lot of talk about this on Yellowboard this week about medicals. It's not really a matter of failing or passing. It's just a matter of just risk assessment essentially. That's it. So that's the one that I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I think
even at this stage, I think we should be all right. But
I think I would be surprised if he goes, given that he's out till the window closes. If he was fit, I would expect him to be going every single day. Completely. I think if he comes back and does a similar turn to what he did second half of last season, he'll be gone in January. No question about it. And do you know what? Good luck to him. He's older. He's coming to the game late. he doesn't owe us anything already. He's been fantastic. If he wants to go and progress his career, he wants to go and move up, and he wants to get that. This ultimately is his chance now. This kind of 6 to 12 month window we're in now is his chance to go and get a contract to set himself up.
He's 28.
28 exactly. If he has a good half season now, I'd love him to stay because he's been fantastic. But if a Championship club, a Scottish Prem club, comes into him, gives us £2.5–3 million for him, and offers him 15–20 grand a week, off you go. Good luck.
Yeah, I'd judge him harshly for saying no to that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's a lunatic. I don't want him anywhere near my football club.
Exactly. Yeah, he's clearly not right if he stays here, isn't he?
Yeah, bonkers. So on to the first half then. So prior to this game, when I've been talking to people, I've sort of fancied Plymouth as possible champions, certainly top two, based on how they finished last season. They seem to improve. But from looking at what they're... And credit to... I'm not one of them to be giving credit to other clubs' fans based on how they behave online. But credit to the Plymouth fans, in all fairness. There's been no slapped arses after yesterday. It's all been acknowledging just how good we were. But off the back of them selling Tolaj to Bristol City, their fans have just gone into meltdown because the money doesn't seem to be getting invested. Were they really bad or were we really good? Or was it a bit of both?
I was trying to avoid that, as you know, trying not to say that. But it was. I think we were excellent. We dropped off after the subs, and the last 20 minutes we were very kind of ordinary. But we could afford to be at that point because the game was won. We were very, very good. But Plymouth also allowed us to be very good. I was amazed how just off it. I don't say they were poor because you could see the kind of endeavour and what they were trying to do. But how open they were, how they were almost playing at half speed. And I messaged my mate who's a Plymouth fan. I've mentioned him on here before. His dad lives locally and goes down every other week to watch the games. I messaged him saying, we're really good, but you're a shambles. And he messaged back saying, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we're playing at half speed. And that's exactly how he described it at half speed. And there was no urgency. They seemed to be second to every ball. They didn't seem to learn from the mistakes. The way that kind of Glover and Diamond were just cutting through them, Wood ran probably 40, 50 yards at one point and got a shot away. And there was just no pressure on them whatsoever. And it was just bizarre to see, considering, I think, everyone says that second half of last season, there's only Lincoln finished ahead of them. And that kind of intensity and physical and strong, and they've scored a lot of goals as well. It just wasn't there. And it's first game of the season, things can change. And I think I heard someone on the train when we were heading back up to Bristol yesterday said that last season they lost the opening game 3-1 to Barnsley or something. Yeah. So, you wouldn't write them off. But I was surprised just how poor they were. But that's not to take anything away from us. We were excellent. And it was one of the most enjoyable county games in a long, long time. And people talk about the Bradford game or the Bradford first half of last season, how good we were. And we were really good then, but we only scored one and we ended up losing the game. Yesterday, we were 2-0 up at half time, 3-0 up after 50 minutes, and we won the game. We were fantastic, really good, really, really good. And to see that style and identity and all of that in complete contrast to last season being imposed on the team and the team working with it and picking it up on the first game of the league, obviously second game of the season, but the first league game of the season is incredible. So very, very impressed. And I'm a hard man to please when it comes to county
exactly that. Two names. I mean, there's plenty of new signings that are hitting the ground running, which is something we've not seen a lot of. So we'll get onto that. But two of the players I was most impressed by were players that were already in the building, as it is. Lewis Bay, who I'll admit, we talked about him on here in pre-season, and I said I don't really get it. But these last two games, he's actually using his mobility, using his agility, trying to drive us forward. It felt like previously it was a case of, it was like he was one of them players who likes getting his stats up. Just likes getting his pass percentage up, and it's all 10-yard passes to someone close to it. But he was so much better like yesterday and last week as well. The other name, though, someone who I think we'd have been quite happy to see leave, well, not just in the summer, but in January when there was a chance of it happening, is Jack Diamond.
I mean,
I know there's been talk of him being a shithouse and being shit in 50-50s, but we've got him in a position where he doesn't have to get involved in 50-50s. He's not having to try and win the ball, and it makes such a difference.
It does. Agree on Bate. I've always liked him. I think last season, he just write it off. It didn't work for him. He missed so much of it, and then I don't know if whether Challoner didn't fancy him or whatever it was, but
because he was completely left out of the squad at times last season, wasn't it? Yeah.
So there's something not quite right there. We'd seen his ability in 24-25 when he was fit, of how good he could be, and when he played for MK Dons in the 5-0 as well, he was good then. So if we
didn't run the game though, can we just dispel that? Because I saw someone say the other week that he ran the game against us. You lost 5-0. You can't run the game and lose 5-0.
No. Yeah, and he wore squad number 50, I think, in that game, didn't he? Which
he did as well. I wrote him off because he was always he's always been a Football Manager favourite of mine, Lewis Bate.
Right.
I used to always like snap him up when he got released by Leeds or Chelsea, and then to see this person who's been part of some great moments for fictional me, and to see him wearing number 50, I just thought, can't believe it. Really upset him.
You're not playing for Inter Milan or AC Milan here. We love a high squad number like Verona. Come on, you're not. Come on, not wearing squad number 50. So I think if we get Bate playing to the player we expected him to be, he's going to be really, really good. Diamond, you say that in January would have been happy to let him go. Up until probably 3:05 yesterday afternoon, I'd have still been happy to let him go. But then he goes in terms of the performance like that. Again, I don't say again. He was excellent. There's no but, there's no caveat, full stop. So he was excellent, full stop. Alongside that, Plymouth gave him an awful lot of room and didn't seem to learn from their mistakes and allowed him to completely take control, which he did. And that's, massive credit to Diamond for doing that. He's not going to get that space in many games this season. No, I can't see how many League One teams are going to be so open, particularly once they've seen how good Diamond was yesterday as well. Yeah. Is he going to be like a targeted man? So how does he respond to that now? And how does he maintain that level of performance? Because we've seen with Diamond before that he's capable of being excellent. The back end of 24-25, before he got that daft ban, he was our best player. He got player of the month, and he was clearly performing head and shoulders above everyone else at that level in the team. Last season was very inconsistent. I agree. He doesn't do himself any favours when he kind of backs out of challenges or doesn't really look like he's committing to them. And stuff like that matters, and stuff like that sticks. So hopefully we can get the best out of him. I think it's fair to call out those two. For me, and again, I don't know if we're going to come on to him. If we are, I'm happy to pause it for now. But the difference an 18-year-old goalkeeper has made is astounding.
Yeah, I saw people online and in group chats that I'm in yesterday saying, "Oh, I still panic when we're passing the ball across the back." So I don't. I genuinely feel so calm when he's got the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
I don't know what his preferred foot is either, which is mad for a goalkeeper.
I agree, and I've got a new hobby now as well, which is when we are playing in complete control at the back and playing these little triangles and drawing the players, it's all good. And you get the get rid merchants and, oof it, get rid of it, and all this. I just really start enthusiastically clapping like some.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, because it's great. We're not in, and I think the difference is, and we never really came unstuck with a die. You know, he never kind of got dispossessed for any kind of comedy goal, or
No, none of his errors came from that.
He had many other errors in him, but none of them really came from this. But there was always with him this, because he had errors elsewhere in his game, this sense of impending doom. Something's going to go.
That's
wrong.
exactly it.
And because he didn't do all the stuff that Watmuff is doing now, the proactivity, the being on his toes almost and sweeping up, that being completely in control and in charge of his whole box, not just his 6-yard box. And maybe that's a difference that's come from Ben being the coach rather from Colgan. Don't know. Maybe Ben is saying, right, you're not just in charge of your 6-yard box anymore. You're in charge of the 18-yard box. Yeah. But there was one moment yesterday, Plymouth swung in, either a free kick or a throw in or something, a cross came in, and Pye was in position to head it. And I was sat on like second or third row from the back of the stand, and you could hear Watmuff shout for it, and he just came and claimed it down on the ground. And we just never saw that from Adai.
Yeah.
We never.
It was the same on the stream yesterday. You could hear him loud and clear shouting.
You never saw that kind of level of communication and confidence which just exudes across the team. And obviously, there's a little bit of different personnel. Gordon's there now, and O'Connell's come in as well. So there is difference there. And obviously, Gordon knows him from Rochdale, which I think helps. But when I was in Pinatar, I was speaking to Jason Taylor, you know, talking about the old days and all this and how good it was. And then we got on to Watmuff. I think it was Mithering to see if we're going to bring another keeper in. And he was basically saying, the kid's going to play for England. He's, you know, he is that. And it wasn't just kind of bigging up a promising kid to kind of make him feel good. This was just in a private conversation. It wasn't on stage. There was no question about it. He's that good. He's going to the top. City have already got, you know, multi £10 million plus valuation on him. And I was a bit, whatever. And then even in the 45 minutes at Pinatar, I was really impressed with him. And then throughout the Doncaster game and yesterday, and we talked about it in the car on the way home yesterday. And we were saying, if he, very early days, you don't want to get carried away, if he performs at almost like the level that his potential suggests that he can do over all of this season, it's big claim, he could go down as one of our best ever keepers. In terms of ability.
I was having this exact same conversation during the week.
He's that good. He's that good. And he's 18. It's so impressive. So impressive. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, really good. We've got a little thing with loan keepers here who go on to play for England. But having spoke to a fair few proper City fans, like the ones on the spectrum who watch all the kids teams as well and all that, the consensus seems to be that he's far better than Trafford was at that age. He said he's fantastic. He's got a bit of a, I mean, you have to be a keeper. But he's got that bit of shit out. He's a bit of a mad bastard. Like getting involved in that to do after he got done in against Oldham, and then saying yesterday he's happy giving it out to opposition strikers and stuff like that. I don't want my goalkeeper shrink. There's a fine line, I think. That whole thing Joe Hart used to do before England games in tournaments, where he'd be in the tunnel and you could see him being all like, just like, and it was too much. His performance just went to shit. But with Watmuff, you just feel like he's got that measure right. I think it's the most impressed I've ever been by a county player of that age, to be honest.
I think so. I genuinely think so. I remember Jim, I don't know if this is relevant, Jim Gannon used to speak about, and he told this story once about, and it kind of, the Joe Hart thing kind of chimed with me then about motivation. And it's very easy to kind of motivate players in the short term. And when we used to play teams, he'd say that, you know, they're going to come out, they're going to be motivated because it's Stockport County and it's their big game and all this kind of stuff. But it's very difficult to sustain motivation. So what Jim used to focus on wasn't motivation, it was belief and instilling belief in players, because he always believed that belief would outweigh motivation in the long term. And no matter how fired up and pumped up this team is, and they'll come flying into challenges and they'll have this extra yard of pace, our belief and the mentality we've got will see us through at the end, be more successful. And it feels that's relevant with Watmuff, that he's not just motivated and he's fired up in the same way that Joe Hart was and almost putting on a show. he just knows he's got something really good, and his performances are showing that. And again, it's 2 competitive games, so he might, and I'm sure he will have a few howlers this season because all keepers do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But in first impressions, struggle to think of a player in. I can't tell you the last one who you kind of have as high hopes for. He's that good. He's that good.
Yeah, it's going to be a real source of pride watching him for England in 5 or 6 years' time.
Yeah.
And
Until he does
knowing
his
we played a
ACL
big
in
part.
Carrington tomorrow. And then,
Well, I've been wanting to. I've been keeping an eye on the whole injury situation, so we could, because when Sam Byrne was on here towards the end, like after Wembley at the end of last season, and he said basically we'll see this season whether it's down to Challinger's methods. But if as people have said, Challinger was doing 11v11s the day before a game, like full contact, then it stands to reason that maybe we won't have as many injuries now. Right, let's get on to Dave's halftime report, and we'll cover the less eventful second half.
Half-time review, Nick. 2-0 up. Jack Diamond's bossed it. I don't think he's been in a defensive third for the whole half, which is so different to last season. So obviously the manager instruction is to his strengths, which is amazing. I think Kyron Gordon's been really good at the back, made a couple of great challenges. Watmoth's passing is unbelievable. He's going to make a mistake this season, we know that. But so far, brilliant. Yeah, I can't find a fault with the first half. They probably should have scored, put a header over the bar. But as we are, top of the league, we're not going to move there. It'll be difficult to move them now, as McLean would say. But no, really, really good. And just want to say, start of the game when the players were shaking hands, doing their handshake. Jim McNulty came over to the away end, proper G'ing him up like this, proper up to the fans, absolutely loving it. I think it's brilliant. The togetherness that we've seen on the pitch is something we've not seen for a long time. So really happy with that. Hope for more at the second half.
So he's touched on a few points that you made already there. Another name he mentioned though is Kyron or Kieran Gordon. Very considering, I wouldn't call it a head loss, but this confusion from some people that we're signing League Two and National League South players. But I mentioned it on the show last week, and I'll bang this drum all season quite happily. We're signing players that fit into the system. We might have signed better players last season, but they weren't a fit. These players are quite clearly a fit. And for players to be coming in and performing, it feels like so long since we had a new signing hit the ground running. And it's happening like all over the pitch. There's just new signs just coming straight in, doing it.
Exactly. And McNulty's obviously worked with Gordon. He knows what he's all about. He's worked with Watmoth before, Gordon has. So I don't know what the issue is. He's come in, he's performed well, he's looked promising. I'll come back. I think Dave mentioned there's something there which I was going to bring up, which I'll come back to about the headed chance that they had, which is not related to Gordon as such. But yeah, like I don't really know what to say. Like, yeah, it's great. McNulty has a very clear idea in his head, and he's got the right players, hopefully, to execute that. And I'd much rather have and I always thought this, I'd much rather have a team which is a team built around a system which all works together and all the parts know what they're doing, than a kind of team of names who aren't necessarily all pulling in the same direction, which we've had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting. The headed chance. What were we missing there then?
So this was my not worry, but an observation from the Doncaster game last week. Went forward really well, loads of nice passing. I thought we've looked a little bit susceptible in defence a couple of times. And yesterday was another example of that I can't quite remember the passage of play, but I think it was a bit of a loose ball, allowed Plymouth to kind of come forward. They swung a crossing, but about 5 seconds before that, they were coming down. If we're behind the goal, they were kind of to our left, to keeper's left. And you could see we didn't look particularly organised in the middle. And there was an overload with Evans and I don't know the name, but another lad, both running in. and Gordon was on his own, and we'd all been dragged over to too close to the ball, and you could see it unfolding. And when the ball came in, I don't know if it was Evans who actually had the header or this other fella, but they almost got in each other's way, and the wrong player headed the ball. There should have been a shout for the guy coming in behind him to head it, which I think would have been much better. And we got away with it there. And I think there's a couple of times in the Doncaster game. Obviously, we conceded from a corner at Plymouth as well. So I do think there is a bit of work to do in defence. Going forward and control of the games and control of the ball, been really impressed. Would like to see how we deal with against a Mansfield kind of team who are going to be not necessarily pressing us, but just will quite happily give us a kick and sit back and be like, well, come on then. We're not going to go for the win. We're going to just let you try and play through us and see how we get on against a team like that. Because I think Plymouth was so open, we're not going to get that every week. But I'm very excited to see how it unfolds.
There was a player I wanted to discuss who I saw you'd mentioned on your Insta story yesterday, but I think because he's getting better he's getting better with every game he plays. So I think we'll get you back on in a couple of weeks and we'll wax lyrical about Harry Wood, because I don't want to tempt fate, but I think we've finally upgraded on Will Collar. I
don't want to tempt fate, but I think he's possibly the best player we've ever had in our history. I love a player. Like there's two kind of roles which I love in a team. There's that kind of deep lying Lewis Montrose, Gary Dicker kind of, which we spoke about at length before. And then there's that role that Wood was doing yesterday, which isn't quite, it's not a striker, it's not a Norwood, it's not a Sarcevic, it's a little bit of all of that, breaking forward. I love that. I think he was great. And as I say, I think he's already probably in the top 3 county players of all time, based purely on that. So
he's like,
get carried away,
he's like an amalgamation of every good midfielder we've had in the Vita era. It's basically, they finally perfected it. And there he is. I don't see anything that he can't do. Maybe it won't be Kyle Wotton who goes in goal when the moment comes. Maybe it'll be Harry Wood.
Exactly. Get him in. Get him on the sideline. Give him a cap. He can be like McNulty as well. He was great. Really liked him. Hope he continues in that vein. Big fan. Big fan. Yeah. Again, one game. Don't want to get carried away, but excellent.
What we'll do. So second half. Just to wrap it up before we get Dave's full-time thoughts. A phrase that came up quite often last season in a negative sense has now come up in a positive sense, and that is game management. Big difference in how we did it yesterday, because we did not drop 20 feet further back, which was a difference for me.
Yeah, and we even said it, we commented on it during the game, that how refreshing it is to not see us. Because I think they scored about 77, certainly pre-80th minute. And you think,
last season, that would have led to an onslaught.
Yeah, it could be a long 15 minutes now to get through. And there was another chance it wasn't even really a chance. I don't think it was really a shot. It was more like a miss hit or something. And Watmouth had to really scramble across to get it. And even then, we didn't retreat and sink back. We were still, we weren't streaming forward, but we were still playing our game. And it's great to see. I think the subs, we weren't as effective once we'd made a series of subs. I think there was a couple of players who just didn't get into the game at all and made very little impact. There was a couple who I think didn't really look as if they were at the level we needed. And then we had Fiorini, who I liked. Again, he's another one. I don't know if he would agree. Hopefully he would. Don't really care if he does or not. But his first 2 seasons have been really poor. I was going to say disastrous. Don't know if they've been disastrous, but he's just not really done anything in the first 2 seasons. Not been good at all. And then, it's small steps. But I think since he's been under McNulty, I think he's looked good. And I think he seems to be first in line now behind Norwood and Bate to come on. So hopefully we'll see more minutes. I would hope he plays against Everton on Tuesday and gets, an hour at least there. And I hope he continues to kick on.
Because, I mean, on the face of it, logically, you'd look at it and think, well, we're going to a possession style of play now. We're looking to take care of the ball a bit better. He's grown up in that environment. Yeah. His whole football upbringing is that. So, on the face of things, he should be the perfect player for this. Very telling that he's been coming on and playing deeper. He's been coming on for Norwood the last two games. So when he did play under Challoner, it was a bit higher up, almost as a Will Collar alternative. So with Will Collar's off the ball work, there's always going to be a drop off there. But he just offered next to nothing for Fiorini.
And that's the thing that I think one of the main comments about Fiorini last two seasons has been no one really understands what he's all about. He wasn't the kind of Crowsdale, just relentless back and forth, breaking things up. He wasn't that all-action Will Collar. He wasn't making those kind of late runs into the box. He wasn't pinging the Norwood passes. No one really knew what he was all about. So if he can, I don't quite expect him to be at the level of Ollie Norwood because there's not really anyone in our division. There's not many in the Championship who are at his level. So I'm not expecting that. But if he can carve out his own role, which is to the benefit of the team, which is a bit of Norwood, which is a little bit of Bate, which is a little bit maybe of Sars, then yeah, excellent. And because clearly, Ben said on at the Basque night that in his all-time county 11, he would have Fiorini, which is a pretty strong statement, isn't it?
Big, isn't it? Yeah, very interesting. And the fact that he's involved in not only involved in the squads, but getting game time as well, would suggest that he's very much in the plans compared to the players we discussed earlier. What we'll do, we will get Dave's full-time thoughts, and then there's something big to discuss in the second half of the show that you're just the man for.
Well, Nick, I said 3-1, and it was 3-1. I said Wootton would score. Wootton scored. I said Diamond would score. Diamond scores. Where's Ethan Pratt when you need him? But what a performance. Lily, what do you think?
It was a good game.
No more needs to be said. Great game. McNulty at the end, unbelievable scenes. He loves it. We love him. And yes, a little bit of half time. But here's one question for you that I'll leave you with. 2011-12 season. Who was the player with the most appearances? Don't Google it.
So, one for you, Evan. So, me and Dave are doing a new quiz called Winner Plays On, where each week we both pick a specialist subject, starting county related. We'll probably move on to pop culture and stuff as the season goes on. So last week my specialist subject was the life and times of Alan Armstrong. His was the life and times of Paddy Madden. He won, which means next week my specialist subject will be the 11-12 season.
Okay.
So that's a little taste of the question there. Do we have an answer?
What was the question at the start of the 11-12 season?
No, in the 11-12 season, who played the most games that season?
It's not a keeper because we had Glennon and then Ormson. So it won't be a keeper. I would guess.
I'd be tempted to go Daniel O'Donnell.
I was going to say Gianni, maybe.
One of those two would be my shout, yeah.
I know Chadwick started a lot early on, but then disappeared.
I forgot about
him. Hattersley didn't play a full season. Elliott didn't.
Yeah, Chadwick was gone as soon as Gannon came in, pretty much, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. There was almost two halves to that season. There was... Yeah. I mean, if the answer is Tom Elliott that Philbin's just put, and I've just dismissed it wasn't Tom Elliott, then obviously I'm wrong.
If he says it's Tom Elliott, it's Tom Elliott.
I would have guessed Pierre Gianni. I didn't think Elliott played as much.
Oh, but if it's appearances, there was a lot of games where he came off the bench early on. It was only when Gannon got a grip of him that he was a starter.
Right. It'd be interesting to see starting, because I think O'Donnell and Pierre Gianni would maybe up there as starters. But if Elliot came on. I think he did play along. He did start quite a lot, Elliot, as well. But if he was coming on 10, 15 minutes here, there as well.
Yeah,
There we go.
most likely. Right, courtesy of our mate Chris Eaton, he's dug into the archives for the random county clip of it. We've ditched the non-league thing now. It's just the random county video of the week now. Thought we'd go mental. It seems like a waste to say to the man with the biggest collection of county videos out there. It seems a waste to say to him, "Oh, I just want it to be from this specific 11-year period." So we thought we'd open it up. So let's see what he's got this week. Well, whatever he's got this week, I'll just let you tell us about it when we've watched it. 'Cause I've not watched it yet. So
Okay. Hold on.
Corner to be taken by Ward. The big men are in the middle. And it's Ian Halliwell. 5 minutes on the clock. Ward with the corner. Halliwell. The simple task of nodding it over the line. And a great start for County. A great start for Dave Jones in his first home game in charge. Cross came in from the corner from Ward. Halliwell at the back post. Towered above the defence and knocks it home. Blackpool fans not too happy that on that occasion Howard Tower was bigger than theirs. Good work by Beaumont and Davenport. Beaumont gets the return. Two in the middle. One of them's Halliwell. Todd. It's Lee Todd! His second league goal for Stockport County, and it was a header. And there couldn't be a more popular goal scorer at Edgeley Park. Toddy just signalling that he's going to have a few bites to celebrate. 29 minutes gone. Stockport County 2, Blackpool 0. Second courtesy of a Lee Todd header. Misunderstanding between Ward and Halliwell, both left it. Now then, Quinn. And Quinn scores. They took it really well. And I've said all through the game, he's not the one most likely to for Blackpool. He really has looked lively this afternoon, James Quinn. If I was saying that Blackpool had a mountain to climb, they've certainly started well enough. Oliver. Armstrong was up there. Beaumont plays it back in. Halliwell is underneath it. Looking for Armstrong and Ward. Beaumont. Nobody out to the right. Davenport had come a little bit further in. Oh, great work by Peter Davenport. Ian Halliwell. Magnificent work by Peter Davenport. Pure professionalism. Never gave it up. And laid it on a plate for Ian Halliwell to get his second. 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes in the second half. Stockport County restore their 2-goal advantage. Once again, Halliwell's name will go down as the goal scorer, but magnificent work from Peter Davenport. Never gave it up. I'll mention to you once again, by the way, that we have shots from the new stand on today's game. The sort of view that you'll get at Edgeley Park next season if you buy a ticket for the new stand. Trouble again for County. And it's gone in. Tony Ellis claims it. Yeah, number 10, Tony Ellis for Blackpool. It's County 3, Blackpool 2. Well, the announcer's given it to James Quinn, but it was definitely, in my opinion, Tony Ellis that got to it.
So a couple of things that jumped out at me from that. Firstly, the Grand Central Pools advertising board. Big fan of that. That's a blast from the past. Also, when Chris Eaton told me it featured a rare Lee Todd goal, not for a second did I expect a header.
No, I do remember that goal, but I couldn't have told you before it that like Todd scored in that game. If you know what I mean, I remember it once I've seen it. But yeah, I think he only got 3 or 4 for us, didn't he? I think his most famous was probably Rotherham in the cup. But
yes,
yeah, it wasn't a bad finish.
I got the number. It was his record was. Let me find it. 4 in 302.
It's not a great ratio.
1 in 75 and a half.
Yes. Other things are obviously former England international Peter Davenport bossing things. The camera angle from the Cheadle end, don't see that ever these days.
No. Multiple angles in.
We love a replay. Those old Cavalier videos, don't they? They love a.
They love a replay. Yeah.
And the other thing there, that didn't sound like Ken.
No, it didn't.
It didn't sound like Ken, which is a worry. I wonder where Ken
Could it
was.
maybe? What time of year was it?
March or April, end of season.
Okay, so that probably rules out Ken being on holiday because it's normally an August thing.
Unless he was still working, unless he was still on a
Coppering.
case. Yeah, exactly.
on a case. Yeah. Brilliant. Lovely blast from the past, that. Right. It is time, before we wrap up, for the feature we're calling Roulette, see what the news has got in store for us. One item on the wheel this week. I wonder what it's going to be.
Go on.
And, of course, it's your specialist subject, your friend and mine. It is, of course, kits and kit launches. Now, mentioned it on the show a couple of weeks ago. Really liked the launch for the first kit, for the home kit. Thought really cool. Link it with the Stockport event.
You checked your watch then before you engaged me. How long do we give him?
Yeah. She's picking me up in 45 minutes, so all right, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, really enjoyed the launch of the home kit, and also having seen it in action, it's closer to the shade of blue I would like to see. So I'll give us that for the home kit. The launch for the away kit, not bad. I don't think the club can be blamed for people thinking it was a new signing reveal, because that was just thick. That to see what they were doing and thinking it was a teasing a new signing a week in advance was properly bonkers. But you know, the meat of the dish here, Ben, is the third kit. Do you want to discuss the kit or the launch first?
Could I say no? I don't want to discuss it anymore. I'm done. It doesn't make a great podcast if I say no, does it? Right. I agree with you. The home shirt is nearly really, really good. Don't need to go over all this again, but nearly really good. There's a couple of details. Everything needs lifted up a little bit. The Vita needs shrinking, but yeah, it's a good shirt. Could be excellent, but it's good. Don't have a
which is a theme in recent years, I think.
Yes, the black one. It's quite difficult to get a black kit wrong, but we seem to be pushing the boundaries every year of what's possible. So, disappointing on that. I don't hate it, but it should be much stronger than it is. It's not black enough. It feels a bit washed out. It's not dark
For,
enough.
for balance, I do think it looks better on people than it does in just the pictures, but not by much. With the home shirt, everyone I've seen wearing the home shirt looks ill. I don't know if it's like it's really
It's a
ill
fair
fitting.
representation of our fan base, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it's just the people I hang around with.
Yeah, exactly. Eating all these 99p lasagnas off Castle Street, frozen foods. Yeah.
Yeah, Heron Foods have got a lot to answer for.
Bulgarian packaging on it. You're not going to look great, are you? So,
Yeah.
right, let's go third shirt. Again, the kit, I think all orange is bold. And I don't mind bold, but I don't. Having seen it in the flesh yesterday, I think it's crying out for a bit of black to break it up, whether that is shorts or whether it's socks or whatever. I don't mind almost like orange being an alternative pair of shorts for it that, generally would wear for simplicity, orange, black, orange, but occasionally you might wear the orange shorts. Don't mind that. But I think as all orange, again, it's not, I don't hate it, could be better. But that's not important. The biggest problem is the launch. And what stings, a week ago, whatever it was, 10 days ago, there was a fans forum. And admittedly, I wasn't there, but I've seen the tweets, I've heard from people who were there. And I might be paraphrasing slightly, but there was a question about retaining the inherent countiness of what makes county and how we're going to protect that. And I think it was Bellis, apologies if it wasn't, but I think it was Bellis stood up and said, we got the Tanto thing wrong. And we went too far and we've learned from it. We've learned lessons.
And Mark Stott said the same in his interview as well.
Mark Stott said the same thing. So cool, all right, great. Should never have happened in the first place, but okay, we've learned from it. A week, 10 days later, we engage Matty Good Vibes, or as I heard someone refer to him yesterday, Gary Goodtime. Matty Good Vibes. Tickled you. So we engaged Matty Good, what's he called? Not Gary, Matty Good Vibes to come and launch our third kit. If you look at the campaign itself, it's completely in isolation. There's no thread between the home, away, and the third, which is less of an issue, but that kind of thing bugs me. What's the story? What's the connection? What's the thread holding all this thing together? Clint Boone's in it as well. Don't mind Clint Boone.
Yep, like him.
In the same way, I don't mind Kevin Webster or from Coronation Street.
Yeah. He's always been a part of your life and he's not annoyed you.
He's a generic Northwest face who's of reasonable fame. Right? You could pick him out in the street. If you saw him, you'd be like, oh, there's Kevin Webster, there's Ken Barlow, there's whoever else. Yeah. Do I want them launching a county shirt? Probably not, because they're not county fans and they have no connection to the town or the club. To hear them referred to as Stockport, as a Stockport legend, just plainly isn't true. So it's a bit of an odd choice. Like I said, nothing against Clint Boone, quite like him, but an odd choice. We then employed Matty Good Vibes, who made his name, and I don't care if he did it about other towns later on. His most famous video and where he made his name was calling Stockport a shithole and saying that you get verrucas on your eyes and saying that you need to have glass bottles if you walk through Grand Central and all this. And that was at a time when Stockport wasn't as good as it is now. We weren't quite on our arse as we were in the north, but it's not that long ago we were on our arse. And stupid things like that stick and they matter and they're important. And the stuff of him, and there's pictures of him in City shirts. And he's clearly not a county fan. And, clearly he's reasonably popular doing his own thing. And good luck to him. But to have him...
People like Coldplay and voted for the Nazis, Ben.
They did, exactly that. And if you don't know what that reference is from, then you need to watch more stuff on Channel 4. But to have Matty Good Vibes or Gary Goodtime coming through...
Stop saying it, I can't handle it.
Coming through and representing us is really, really, really poor. It doesn't reflect well on us. He's nothing to do with us. There's no authenticity. He's just a hired clown. If City said, look, come and launch our kit for us tomorrow and we'll pay you, he would do it. If United did it, if Rochdale did it, if Bury did it, he's just
come and launch our new leper colony. He'd do it.
He'd be there. And I say, he's popular with people, so whatever. And it's very easy to say, well, I'm not the target audience. I'm a 41-year-old, bald, miserable, sad man, which I'm not all of those things. But all right, well, if I'm not the target audience, who is? Who is the target audience that connects with both Matty Goodvibes and Clint Boone? Because that's a pretty small group of people.
That Venn diagram.
They're not natural kind of bedfellows. That's
No, they're really not.
Clint Boone and Matty Goodvibes. And I have a good authority that it was raised with, and I don't say the club is blameless in this, because they're not. Nobody is blameless in this circus. But I believe it was outsourced to this Grofu mob. And it was raised by people in the club that Matty Goodvibes may not be the best person to launch our kit. And here is the evidence why. He's caused the town a shithole. He's laughed at us and all this. And he turns up on match days doing these stupid kind of clips, basically getting people embarrassing themselves. And it was pushed back on to basically say, there are a couple of Stockport legends like, butt out, we know what we're doing. And part of me thinks that lack of awareness is so astonishing that whether that's the agency who've done this, but where are the controls in the club? This isn't something where like someone's turned up with a camera phone on the morning and filmed something really quickly and launched it that afternoon. There has been anything like this has a series of meetings and planning sessions and budget sign off and, okay, what's the story? What's the premise? And selling it. How has nobody at any point along that journey come in and said, maybe Matty Goodvibes isn't the best person to use for this because he calls the town a shithole and he's a bit of a clown. And I find it astonishing that we have let it get to that point where we're happy to sign that off and put it out there and didn't expect any kind of blowback on it. And whether it was this kind of idea of, well, maybe we'll do it and we'll get people talking because it's controversial. I don't think that is the case. But if that is the case, then that's been completely misjudged. Yeah. And it worries me that we've got that lack of awareness at the club where we think that's okay, particularly 10 days after we've said, we hear what the fans are saying. We're not going to make these mistakes again. Where's the checks? Where's the balances? Where's that kind of sense of what fans are all about and the sense of feeling about these things? And it's very easy for people to say, oh, it's a third kit launch. Who gives a shit? That is exactly what the response, almost people want the response to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, forget that. But every time we do something like this, every time we have some pillock singing Sweet Caroline in the courtyard, every time we have a bad experience in the shop or the ticket office, or we release some piece of tap merchandise, or the experience and the whole kind of thing of what it is to be county gets degraded a little bit, it chips away at what Stockport County is. And I fully appreciate I'm a lot more protective about our name and our heritage and our history than most other county fans are. And that doesn't mean I'm claiming to be a bigger fan. It's just that this kind of stuff is more important to me than how good the team is on the pitch. I don't care about that. I'm going to go regardless.
I feel the same. Yeah. So me and David starting a bit of a series soon of what is county to you.
Yeah.
Based off all of this. So we'll be asking numerous people, including yourself, and we'll be publishing it as like a series of articles and stuff. And that's exactly it. Yeah. Absolutely spot on. It is important.
We have fallen as far as really any club in the Football League, unless they go bust, is ever going to drop. We've been down to the second half of the 6th tier. Still kept going, still got going every week, stuck by it. And, you kind of almost getting a little bit of the reward for sticking by that now. That, no matter how far we fall, we could go and play Cheadleith Nomads in the league and I would still go to those games and I would still prioritise that over literally everything else in my life. But stuff like this is the thing that will turn me away, where we degrade and chip away at our name and our heritage and what we're all about and that inherent countiness, which I fully appreciate some people don't quite get, or they choose not to kind of try and engage with what that means. That's the kind of thing that ultimately would put me off. If we become a parody of what we are and we just basically bend over for a cheap laugh, or we just kind of wear away at all of the good that we've done over the years, that's the thing where I think, you know what, fuck it, I don't enjoy this anymore. It's not worth it. So I am very, very protective about it, because our name became a laughing stock and we were dragged through the mud. In the Sale Sharks years, in the administration time, when we're in the north, we were a punchline. And I don't want us ever to become like that again. So when we see stuff like this, someone just mentioned Gary Goodtimes again. But when we...
I can't handle it. I genuinely thought this season I was going to struggle with hearing the name Whatmuff on a weekly basis. Not a problem. But Gary Goodtimes has done me in.
Yeah. But ultimately, it just smacks of somebody with no understanding or no appreciation of what we're all about. And Gary Goodtimes has annoyingly really cheapened and kind of diluted this serious message. So don't let this...
When I edit it, I'll bleep that out.
Yeah. Don't let this stuff happen again. And like Brad's has put there, the club, I thought the club had a heritage group. I don't know if they do or ever have, but they bloody should do, because people say, oh, we've got Bellis to uphold our name and make the right decisions. One person cannot do that. And I'm very careful of how I word this, because I don't want to sound like I've said any criticism of Bellis, but his experience as a county fan is very different from mine and yours and the people who travel every single week. Bellis is there in an official capacity, sitting with other club directors, sitting with other clubs' hospitality. And I say, I don't want this to sound like this is a pop at him, because he does fantastic work. But how can he know what we think, what conversations we're having, what people are talking about in the terraces, what things are kind of on people's minds in the moment they happen? Because he's not there. He's living a different experience, and his experience is totally valid, and it's equally as valid as mine. But it's a different experience from that match-going fan who, you know, are taking trains and cars and whatever else to Plymouth on their own dollar. And I'm very careful of how I'm saying that, because I don't want it to sound like I'm having a pop at him, because I'm not. But one person cannot possibly claim to represent all of the fans, especially when they're a club employee.
Yeah. I mean,
I do think what Brad's has said there about Heritage Group, if we haven't had one, and this shouldn't be a load of like legacy limpets who are stuck in the past, it should be a broad church of county fans, but as that little bit of a filter and summary of, actually, should we use Matty Good Vibes? Should we have literal entrance music when Alafe comes on the pitch, when we've got other players making their debut? Should we have goal music? Should we? Because if we don't have that, it's going to happen again. There's going to be some other cultural balls up, which makes us look like fools. And that thing I talk about gets eroded a little bit more. Can't have it. So we'll be quiet, but that's how I feel.
I mean, I'm just some gobshite who has a laptop and an internet connection and a very generous sponsor. Shout out Blackbird Kitchen. Get in the links. That's what allows me to do this. I genuinely think I could come up with something better. Top of my head, there's loads of darts players from Stockport. Darts is big, getting bigger now amongst all ages, all demographics. People are getting into darts. I have a few Stockport-based darts players. Our next announcement's going to hit the bullseye for you. Blah, blah. There we go. That's already better. I mean, that's shit, but it's already better.
Do you know what I'd do? I'd get Petch to take some pictures of the players in the changing room wearing the new kits, and then I'd put the kit on sale. There we go. How about that?
Bold. Yeah. Can we have a bouncy castle and a fun day as well?
No. Well, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can have an open day where you can come and meet the players in the Cheadle end. Yeah. And you can have your pictures taken. And
Ellen Armstrong will come on stage in the kit, and everyone will go, woo!
Exactly. We don't have to have all this nonsense. And I don't mind a little bit of the circus. And I appreciate the younger fans, we always say, are more engaged with it. But I don't care how old you are. If you were impressed with that slop that we turned out the other night, then you're a moron, because it was rubbish. It's got no place representing our club. And I hope, I don't know who listens to this, but I hope either people from the club who were involved in that take this in the spirit that it's intended. It is not a pop at any one individual. Except,
no, there's nothing personal. It's just constructive.
Maybe Gary, he can take a little bit of criticism, but it is not kind of, look, you're shit at your jobs or you don't know what you're doing or anything like that. It is, let's do better and avoid this kind of thing in the future because it's not acceptable and it's not what we're all about.
Correct. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I have nothing more to add to that. And judging by the comments, I don't think anyone else does either. That's pretty much vocalised what a lot of people have been trying to say all week. I think absolutely spot on. Yes, Dave, we are available to do the kit launch either in conjunction with county shirts or without. Well, no, actually, not without. I don't think.
I mean, to be honest, basically, give us the kit launch, or I will continue to leak the kits as I did this season. There's your offer.
Are we holding a ransom? Is that what we're doing now? Is this a hostage situation?
We know what we're doing. Yeah, we know what we're doing.
Oh, cracking. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. It always is.
I enjoyed it.
Good. That's what
that's appearance.
Next month, more like it. I think we've got a lot to cover, and I'm sure there'll be some other cultural fuck up. Have you come to terms with the fact that it does look a bit like a keeper kit? It does feel I was convinced we'd had it as a keeper kit already. Let's go back.
I mean, we essentially have. We've had. It's just a pretty plain, bright orange Puma top with a slightly different kind of quirk in the fabric. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So we essentially have, but haven't. It does look like a keeper kit. I actually thought yesterday, if you inversed it, if we had Watmuff wearing the orange and we had the 10 outfield players wearing that kind of, what did we call it, like stone aqua or something ridiculous, didn't we? I don't know what we called it, but that kind of aquary grey kind of coloured outfield kit, would that look better? Might look a bit washed out, but you never know.
Better than that, I think. Yeah. Mint grey.
Okay.
Which are two words that should not go together.
No. Maybe that'd be a better outfield kit. I don't know.
Well, before we wrap up, something I touched on at the top of the show, the Jim versus Jimmy quandary. I cannot call him Jimmy McNulty because it feels like something. I have the same thing with Tommy Robinson. It's like, oh, little Tommy Robinson's going to the shops. It feels like
is he? Yeah.
It feels like a character from like a kid's thing. And same with Jimmy McNulty. But that's what the club have gone with. The club have gone with Jimmy, so that seems to be what he prefers. Right. I can't. I mean, Jimmy McNulty's Blue White Army sounds too. It's too. Oh, have a banana. It's all very it's very whimsical.
It was, and obviously there's the whole the wire thing as well.
Yes.
So Jim McNulty, I would go. Well, will go with and have gone with Jim McNulty. I don't have Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
I didn't call Jim Gannon Jimmy.
It's a child's name, Jimmy. I think.
It is a child's name. If you're a grown man and your name's James and you're going by Jimmy, sort yourself out, I'd say.
Yeah, because we didn't. Because Jim Goodwin was not Jimmy Goodwin. He couldn't have been a Jimmy Goodwin, could he?
And he's certainly not Jimmy Goodwin now as a manager.
No. So now I would, unless you're in like some certain Italian American subculture, then I think Jimmy might be all right, like your Jimmy Altieri in The Sopranos. But I think, let's call it a Jim.
It reminds me of the one day at school. Well, there was one day at secondary school where I decided to go by Nick N-I-K. We didn't catch on. And then the following day, I was like, well, I really want to make something happen for myself. So I decided to start going by Nicky. And regretted it almost instantly.
Yeah. I think you suffer from having a short, kind of one-syllable surname as well. Nicky Lee.
Yeah. And I'm one of them wrong'uns who's got two first names.
Yeah. No. I mean, I've clearly wouldn't ever dream of calling myself Benny either.
I should fucking hope not, because you won't be on air again if you do.
Particularly sickening, isn't it? So
yeah, I'll never speak to you again. Oh no. Does anyone go by Benny? Benny King?
Benny Fazio in The Sopranos.
It's just all coming back to The Sopranos. Sopranos and The Wire. That's literally been the last 10 minutes. I'm fine with it.
No, there was Benny. You might have got. I'm sure in the past people had the
Benny Benassi.
Benito Carboni. You ever get a Benny Carboni? We did.
Probably, yeah. I bet there was a song where they shoehorned it in.
Carboni, yeah. But we never had like a Benny Hinchcliffe or a Benny McKenna or Benny.
A Benny who? Benny Hinch? I think you just said Hinchcliffe there, mate. I'm sorry.
No, it's definitely Hinchcliffe.
You said Hinchcliffe then?
I don't think I did.
Oh, mate, sorry. I won't clip it up or anything, but you definitely said Hinchcliffe then. I'm sorry.
Wind it back. Don't say Benny Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
And Benny McKenna. I wouldn't have said I wouldn't have said Hinchcliffe. You can.
It's been confirmed.
You can back off.
Oh, go and watch some Gary Goodtimes videos. Oh God, we've something started. I mean, I couldn't not flag it up because it's like when Laura Koonsberg won't ask difficult questions to a Tory MP. I'd get accused of that sort of thing, so I had to bring it up.
I mean, I think it might just be like my drawl of how I've said it, but
no, I don't think it was.
Yeah, you can all. Anyway, I'm going. I'm sick of this nonsense.
Yeah, we're all going. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in and joined the conversation in the chat. We'll be back next week from 8, talking Everton under 21s and also talking about our impending thumping victory over Blackpool in the battle of the orange kits, the orange kit derby. So that's exciting. Ben, cheers, mate. It's always been a pleasure.
Glad to be here and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And we will see you all next week. Ta-ra!